Welcome back to Hospitality Insights with the Silver Fox. Now today, we're stepping on toes. We're talking today about celebrity chefs, the myth, the machine, and the reality behind the brand. There are some that I love. For instance, the late, great Anthony Bourdain. He's exempt from any negative comments. He's a voice, or was, a voice of rare honesty in hospitality. Bourdain redefined food storytelling by turning kitchens and cultures into human, unfiltered journeys that connected people beyond the plate. Yep, I am a fan. So let's start with the obvious celeb chef names. Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver, Marco Pierre White. These aren't just chefs anymore. They're global businesses. And that's where things start to get complicated. Don't get me wrong, I'm also a fan of all three of these chefs. They cut their teeth as apprentices, they worked countless hours, and all three are exceptional chefs. Now let's name a few I have questions about. Greg Wallace of MasterChef fame. A scandal eventually saw the end of his career. From compelling presenter to a reminder of how familiarity can fade faster than fame is built. Now let's mention Salt Bae. Yep, that Instagram sensation who sprinkled salt by holding up his forearm, elbow bent like a hinge, fingers pinched, letting the salt cascade from his forearm. Impractical, theatric, and in my mind unhygienic. A meme for style over substance. His fame, fortunately, fading and saving us from further cringeworthiness. Well, I digress. Here's the truth most people don't realize. The bigger the chef becomes, the further they move away from the stove. They're not cooking your dinner, they're managing empires, and sometimes these empires crack. Sometimes their egos outweigh their execution. In fact, recent reports have shown that even Michelin-star level celebrity chefs have been quietly shutting down restaurants across the UK and beyond, with rising costs and changing diner behavior making many of these ventures unsustainable. Some of these are world-class operators, but they're still closing their doors. So let's talk about the illusion, because television has a lot to answer for. Shows like MasterChef have packaged the industry into something slick, emotional, and frankly, misleading. Cooking becomes a performance, but behind the scenes, it's a production. Take shows like Kitchen Nightmares. On screen, it looks like a heroic turnaround story. Chef walks in, shouts a bit, fixes the menu, restaurant saved. Except that's not always what happens. In reality, reports have shown that a large number of restaurants featured on this show actually closed afterwards, and some owners even blaming the show itself for damaging their business. One restaurateur famously said the show killed my business. That's not the ending you see on TV. And then there's the production side. Former participants have claimed the producers manipulated situations, overbooking restaurants, changing menus at the last minute, even engineering chaos to make better television. Think about that. A kitchen already under pressure, then deliberately pushed to breaking point because chaos makes good viewing. And if you want the ultimate case study, look at Amy's Baking Company, featured on Kitchen Nightmares. Became one of the most infamous restaurant meltdowns in television history. There were arguments with customers, staff turnover, reportedly in the dozens, owners taking waiters' tips, even police involvement during the filming. The episode went viral. The brand exploded, but not in a good way. And the restaurant eventually closed. You know one thing I detest? That's the culture of the self-appointed influencer who loves to trade free dinners for promised publicity that never comes. They pose and preen and photograph every mouthful, and their pumped-up, pompous self-importance and quasi-celebrity really gets my goat. Anyway, I digress, yet again. But let's bring it back to MasterChef. because this is where perception really shifts. Contestants go from home cooks to celebrity chefs almost overnight. But what viewers don't see is the machinery behind it. Multiple takes, structured narratives, carefully selected personalities. It's not just a competition. It's storytelling. And that creates a dangerous expectation. Success in this industry is fast, visible, and glamorous. But in reality, it's slow, grueling, and often invisible. Let me give you a hard truth. There is a widening gap between perception and practice in the industry. On one side, TV chefs, cookbooks, endorsements, and on the other, young chefs working hard, trying to master consistency. No cameras, no applause, just pressure. Now, to be fair, celebrity chefs have done a lot of good. They've elevated the profession. They've made food exciting. They've inspired people. But they've also created a distortion where personality can outweigh skill, where brand can overshadow craft. And here's the controversial bit. Some celebrity chefs today aren't really chefs anymore. They're media personalities, entrepreneurs, brand managers. Again, nothing wrong with that, but let's stop pretending it's the same thing as running a kitchen every night. So what's the lesson? If you're entering this industry, understand what's real, not what's edited, not what's branded, not what's trending. Real hospitality is built on repetition, discipline, resilience, and not a 45-minute episode. And for diners, next time you book a celebrity chef restaurant, ask yourself, are you buying the food or the name? Because in the end, fame might fill seats, but only execution keeps them. And that is the truth behind the pass. This is Stephen Hickmore, also known as the Silver Fox. Thank you for listening to Hospitality Insight. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please like, please follow, please share. If you want to know any more information, then go to hospitality.co.za.